Alrighty. Well, hold on. Let me mute myself. All right. So what I'm trying to do here, bear with me. I'm trying something different tonight, guys. Just give me 1 second. What I'm trying to do. I'm going to try to use the audio through my phone and just leave my video up here as it shows. Yeah, because well, Jeremiah had me on his the other night, and they said they heard me great, but I was having trouble hearing them. So when I switched to my phone, it was like perfect. So I'm just trying to see if my lagging issue might get resolved if I switch to my phone for audio. So
I've had to do that.
Bear with me, guys. Just bear with me.
I've had to do the same thing.
Oh, okay.
It worked out, yeah.
All right.
So what's on the agenda tonight?
All right. Hey, can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Whoa, loud, yeah.
Yes.
I hear you.
All right, hold on. I have two mics opened up. Hold on.
Jimmy.
Hey.
All right, let me try this. You guys still hear me okay? All right, I'm hearing myself echo back here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, there's two of you on the screen right now.
Yeah, but I have one me muted, I thought.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why it's picking up like that.
Somewhere somebody's got a mic ears on somewhere.
Yeah, because I hear you picking up too.
Yeah.
How am I sounding?
You're fine.
Okay.
What do you want to bet it's me?
I don't think so.
It's always got to be me. It's always been me.
No, actually, you're very, very clear tonight.
You guys hear me?
Yeah, I
All
hear
right,
you.
let me try this. Can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Good. I had to mute my laptop itself.
Okay. Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah. So all right. Yeah, I can be a little technology sometimes myself, so I figure everything out. So yeah, as long as you guys hear me, we're good then. So
yeah, I'm not the most tech savvy person in the world either, Dan. So don't worry about that.
All right, cool. Well, I feel a lot better now. I mean, how's the lag? Is it lagging? Does it seem to be lagging at all?
No, not bad.
I can't really even hear one, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I can't personally.
No, it sounds good, Daniel.
Awesome. So, yeah, you guys get to view my ceiling and part of my cup right here. So,
Okay.
Because that's coming from my phone. So, all right, beautiful. Well, first of all, we got a much larger panel than usual. Pat is on another panel right now, and he may be going back and forth. I'm not sure how he's doing it, but he said after it gets done, he will be jumping on if he can make it, if he decides to. So, real quick before we get into anything, we got a special guest with us tonight, the one and only Mr. Jerimiah Fountain, former MMA champion, also Bigfoot researcher from New York. We're going to get into his story here very shortly. I do want to direct everybody's attention. For those who are viewing on YouTube, please take the time to check out the description. There's links in there. Check them out. they're just there's actually some links to a couple of books in there and some other information. I'm not going to force anybody to buy nothing, so so it's just to check it out. You may find it interesting. And so with that being said, and if you're new to the YouTube channel here, feel free to subscribe. We're also being broadcasting on Facebook on my ECBRO fan page, and we are shared around in several areas, so that's a cool thing. And at any point, I'm sure some of you guys that will be interacting on the live chat may have some questions throughout the podcast. I will try my best to keep up with that. I know Nikki likes to keep eye on the chat as well. So, well, before we go any further, let's see. Well, Nikki, she's been MIA for the last 2 or 3 podcasts. So, I figure I'd like to put her on the spot, and I'm not gonna. Just ask her if there's anything that she wants to throw out there, or any kind of announcement she may have before we go on.
El Paso got put back on lockdown, and it just, it destroys your spirit, because we were starting to go back out, and it just, snowballed, and we have over 1,100 new cases a day, and now the whole city's back on home. You can't. You're not. If you are not, what do you call it? You don't have to go to work. If you're not essential. Yeah, if you're not essential, then you're supposed to stay home. So it's like we're starting all over again, all over from the beginning, and so
man,
just kind of. I just wasn't feeling it. I didn't want to do anything. I just wanted to be home, my kids, and hope my husband came home every night not sick.
Right.
People were coming up on both his jobs sick, and I'm like, oh Lord, make sure you clean your hands, and leave your shoes at the door, and you are sleeping in your man cave. So that's what has been happening, because I do not want to get sick, and I don't want my kids to get sick. So fortunately, we have enough room where, I isolated him. But other than that,
well, I hope his man cave is pretty big. Poor Javier.
It's not that big, but he's got a big old screen TV in there and all his goodies, and he's
all that matters.
He is fine. Trust me.
Wow.
So anyway, I was hoping things were getting better, but I think that everybody's going to come down with it or something. That's how it feels.
Well, I think the main thing through everything that's going on in the country, whatever, regardless, got to stay positive, because I know we all see what's going on social media. There's a lot of crazy stuff, a lot of idiots out there, and, so.
Right,
and then the election's in 3 days, 3 days.
Crazy. Everything's crazy. You can't talk about your political views. You can't talk about COVID. You can't see your relatives. As far as El Paso's concerned, they don't want us traveling, so I can't even go see my family. I don't have any family here in El Paso, so that was the plan, is that we were going to go to Arizona. They don't want us. We're all sick over here, so they don't want, and I don't want to go and have to be quarantined for 2 weeks and then come back and be quarantined for another 2 weeks.
That sucks. We moved back up to North Carolina about a month ago. We had to sit on quarantine. We're back in New York, and we had to sit in quarantine for 2 weeks, and it was horrible.
Yeah,
wow.
we're America is a very social place, and it's hard for us to hunker down, especially for this long. But I mean, I don't want to bring everybody down. Let's talk about Bigfoot and stuff.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
like any of y'all. That's the reason I stay out in the middle of nowhere on my farm.
I was just gonna say, that's why I live in the woods, man, off the grid.
Oh, Zach, you haven't been on with us in quite a while. Well, we got a challenge for you tonight, buddy. Jeremiah is coming all the way from New York, and he's headed to Illinois to take you on. Are you ready?
Good luck. I won't even be in town next week. I'm going to be up next week.
Oh Lord. Well, all right. Let's get into this. First of all, I don't think I ever said welcome, Jimmy. I know Jimmy's been there, he's sitting there quiet. I'm sorry if I ignored you, Jimmy, but I don't mean to. But it's great to have you with us tonight as well. So we got to. Okay. So yeah, we got a great panel going on tonight. I won't tell Pat that everyone else said that it's better without him. No, I'm just joking. He's probably listening, cussing me out right now. So,
He's like, "You motherfucker."
oh man. Well, Jeremiah, you know the tables are turned. You had me on yours the other night, and I'm glad I was able to get you on here tonight.
Absolutely, it's an honor, man. It's an honor.
Well, I tell you, after just listening to you, because I know for a while most of your podcast, I was sitting back listening. I know Patrick Vaughn, and so sitting back, actually getting to hear you talk more for the first time, on the podcast, and then Travis, along with Travis, and and I had fun. I know Gary very well too, Gary Spikes, yeah. And so, and I was able to pick up on a lot more and to hear about some of the mentions you mentioned regarding your encounters and a lot of what you experienced and witnessed, because you have a lot of details in your description. So let's kind of back up a little bit, and if you don't mind, I know a lot of people know you. Everybody I mentioned to you, oh yeah, I know Jeremiah. So you're pretty well known from what I've gathered.
In a good way, I hope.
Well, yeah, everybody said this, everyone spoke very highly of you. So I was like, good. So tell you what, you want to give us a little bit of history, let's start off with what got you started. If you want to take us back, or you tell it how you want to tell it, and we'll listen. Absolutely. So, and I'm sure there'll be some questions along the way, and I want to let everybody know. I guess so no one's talking someone else. After Jeremiah talks, whatever. If anybody has a question, I'll be watching. Just kind of throw your hand in front of your camera, and I'll try to pause something. We'll get to it one way or another. We'll get to the questions. So, but Jeremiah, the floor is all yours, sir.
Sounds good, Dan. Thanks again. It's an honor being here. Just great group of people. I know Wayne pretty well. Zach. You and I are friends on Facebook. I believe it's my first time meeting Nikki, I believe, and Jim. But it's an honor.
Nice to meet you.
Anyway, the whole Bigfoot thing started with me very, very young. My grandma, who was full-blooded Mohawk, pretty much, I'm going to tell you the same thing I told Wayne, and he had me on his panel. But it's... I was about 7, and she started, telling me about the lore and the legends, and it was around that same time my mother decided to show me a very special film. It was the Patterson film, and from that point on, I was hooked. Actually, my sister found an old VHS the other day that she's converted them all to DVD. And it was me at 7 years old, dressed up in camouflage gear. And she said, "Honey, where are you going?" And I said, "I'm going to find Bigfoot." And I laughed and laughed. It's funny how things turn out, It really is. It's funny. Like you were saying the other night, Dan, I grew up in the woods. Come from a logging family originally. Excuse me. Logging family. We have a tree business even to this day. We've always owned. My family owns a lot of land. We log a little bit of it, but the thing is, it's always been very active land, and we try to respect that. Especially the part of the land my father just kind of turned over to Stacy and I to live on. We've had, God, as long as I can remember from a little boy, a family group there. And when we left in 2016, it was anywhere between 5 and 7. I can't be sure. I would guess more towards 7. And we've had a few encounters. My very, very first experience on that piece of land was in 2000. And you'll have to, and I told Wayne the same thing. You'll have to forgive me. Sometimes I will remember, or I will forget small details. I have a TBI from kickboxing, so I have permanent brain damage. So it does affect small parts of my memory every now and then. But hopefully it won't happen. I think I did all right on your show, Wayne. I think I recalled everything.
Yeah, you did a great job, buddy.
But anyway, just to let you know. Anyway, it was in 2000, down on the property, and it was God, I want to say it was muzzleloader season. I'm pretty sure it was muzzleloader. And I had sat in the tree stand a while, and something just it felt weird. I know the sixth sense sounds cliche. A lot of people throw that out there, but I got no other way of putting it. So, I got out of the tree stand and I proceeded to walk back down the logging road towards my truck, which was probably, I was a ways back in the woods. To that tree stand, it's about a 2-mile walk from where our cabin is. And we live in the middle of nowhere. I could literally walk to Canada. So, I mean, we're about as far north in New York State as you can get. So I get about, I'd say, little less than a quarter mile, a couple hundred meters from where my truck was parked. Okay. And my father had an old log skidder that belonged to my granddad back in the day. A smaller one. It didn't run anymore. And I noticed, like you guys, I've spent my life in the woods. I can identify any animal, most of the time, just by looking at their eyes, well, something was peeking from behind that skidder around the nose of it. Okay. And looking at me, and the eyes were like an amberish almost. And I had never seen anything like that particular color. Even though at that time I was a believer, I knew these things existed. But I wasn't a knower yet. So, in the eye shape itself was a little bizarre. So, I stopped dead in my tracks, and, and I'm standing there and thinking to myself, what was that? And because it had disappeared back behind the skidder once again. So I'm standing there and kind of in shock, a few seconds later, well, it peeks out from again, but at this time it's got its arm wrapped around the front as well. And this would have been, it had to have been its left arm. The way the skidder was faced and the way, you know what I'm saying? And the way the head was turned, it would have been its left arm that I had wrapped around. And what got me was the hand, the arms, what is this thing looking at me? And I had clicked my headlamp on, illuminated it, and I got a better look, and I was just in awe, like what is even though like I said, I knew they existed, I'm still thinking to myself, what is this? What is this thing? And go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to ask, when you were observing this and when this was taking place, how did you feel emotionally? Like, did you feel like freaked out, or just like how would you describe this?
In a way, I did. Yeah, I did. I did kind of feel freaked out because I didn't know what I was looking at.
Right.
I didn't. In the back of my mind, I probably did, but at the same time, I didn't. If that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because my other family members had sightings down there prior to that, and so I knew they were down there. Anyway, now which brings me to the next part: how the athleticism these things possess. I don't think people can put it into comprehension until they see one of these things move. Now, to give you an estimation on the size of this thing. Skidder, like I said, the smaller one. So the nose of the skidder, probably at the most, maybe 5 feet off the ground at the most, 4.5 feet. Like I said, it's hard for me to remember detail like that.
Yeah,
that
sounds about right.
It was a small.
Yeah, I'm familiar with a lot of that equipment. I'm around construction sites almost every day. So
yeah, it was a smaller one. Now. Like I said, I had disappeared back behind the skidder again, and there's a log, about 12 to 15 feet from the tip of the skidder. Okay, there's a log laying this way, not like that towards me, but laying this way, like that. Okay, so all of a sudden, here's the thing. I don't know how far this leap actually was. Okay. I'm just judging it was 12 feet because I'm judging from the tip of the skidder to the log. You know what I mean? So it could have been at the far end of the skidder and took a leap from way back there. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But when it hit that, it's giving me chills just thinking about it. When it hit that log, and I was telling Wayne, the only word I can think of to describe this is propel. Okay. Off the front half of its feet, it propelled itself. Okay.
Oh wow.
So how do I almost like
it sprung off of it like a jump?
It was even different than that, Dan. When it hit that, as soon as it hit that log, okay, I should say it was more like a tree that had come down, but as soon as it hit it, man, the front. Okay, here's your foot. Pretend this is your foot. Now the front just went bang. It propelled itself up the front half of its feet. Okay, and that's what it made that leap with. I was telling me it's made a little tiny squat, not hardly any arm swing at all. It was a propelling motion off the tip of its feet.
Wow, that's a lot of muscle.
Oh my God, that just blew me. That blew me away. It blew me away, and at that point, it leaped to another tree, a standing tree, that was about 15 feet away. Okay. And that's when I got my look at it. And this thing was at the most 5 feet tall, if not shorter. And if I had to estimate a weight, I'm good at estimating weights because of MMA and wrestling, stuff like that. This thing was all of 200 pounds. People say, well, that's not that big for a Bigfoot. Well, yeah, it is. For a 4.5 foot creature jacked full of muscle, that's big. That's stacked.
Yeah, I'd say so, because I'm 6 foot tall, 265 pounds, of course, and I'm a little chunky, so I mean.
We all get
But-
that way in our old age, man. Don't feel bad.
So
But this thing was more, yeah. I mean, well, and that puts it into perspective. I mean, when I was fighting at 205, at one point, I'm 5'9". This thing looked more put together than I was in my prime fighting shape. I mean, it was unbelievable. I had, and still at that time, at that time, I still did not comprehend what I was looking at. It stood there for a second and just kind of looked at me like, what are you doing? I'm here, and I think Mama was close. So I'll get back to why on that after. But yeah, I had my muzzle loader over my shoulder, and I'm surprised I was even able. I was very shaken up, at this point. I had to get a better look at this thing, man. I had to, and it was probably distance wise, I'd say 40 to 50 feet away, maybe a little more. Like I said, I get very confused with numbers, and that's from the brain injury. But anyway, I had it illuminated. I wanted to get a look. Now, here's the interesting part. When I pulled the muzzleloader off my shoulder, I want to make it clear, I am no kill. I do not believe that I'm a no kill guy. I just wanted to get a look. I wanted to get a better look. As soon as I pulled that off my shoulder and brought it up to my eye to take a peek, it kind of went like that. It hopped behind that tree, and it was gone. So if that doesn't tell you that they know what guns are, I don't know what does.
I've heard several people say that. I've heard people say, well, if you go walking through the woods with guns, they won't come around. But then I've heard different. They've been cited with people carrying guns, but I guess I don't know. Maybe it depends, or
I think it depends on the group. I know the ones we deal with, they know. We always go in out back on our property armed. I think they know that. I truly think they know that we don't intend to use them on them.
right.
Strictly for hunting and whatnot. We've never had an aggression problem with them except one time. Before we moved in down there on the land, a buddy of mine went in at about 1 a.m. This is when I was still, Will Jennings' research director. But we get in there and I felt surrounded, and in turn, I was surrounded. We caught a glimpse of one. We caught the eyes in a full army crawl, and I called Will right away, like a safety net almost, and told him what was going on. He said, "It sounds like you're being surrounded. You might have interrupted a hunt. You might want to consider getting out of there." And yeah, we did. We got out of there. As we're walking out, we have one on my side, and we have one on my buddy's side, and there's one following us from behind, escorting us out.
Wow.
They didn't, you could see, you couldn't see them. You could see, shadows here and there, move through the brush. And to me, it felt like they were on all fours, the way the brush was moving and stuff. I will tell you though, when we got to the truck, okay, and it was a full moon. It was a nice big moon that night, not quite a full moon, but a nice bright one. The one behind us, I turn around and look, and this one is very lean build, almost like a professional basketball player. So yeah, I'm thinking maybe because the ones we deal with down there are pretty good size, not really built like that. So I'm thinking maybe an adolescent, maybe, I couldn't tell height from that distance, but anyway, it launched a limb, it had to have been 4 feet long, It launched that from that distance, and it landed 4 feet in front of my feet. So,
Well,
that was the
yeah,
final way of saying get out.
yeah. Oh, as far as the description of being lean, I've heard of other descriptions, people describing them being tall and I don't want to say slanky, but just kind of slender, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah,
Like a basketball player is the only description I can compare it to.
Right. Yeah, Jeremiah, I want to ask you a question regarding facial features.
Yes,
and then I want to give the panel a chance to jump in there, so I'll go across the panel here in a little bit. But as far as facial features, how would you describe facial features that you saw? And one common question I get a lot of people like to ask about the hair on the face. Was there hair on the face? And if so, how would you describe it?
Not a lot. It was almost very, very lightish, if any at all. And this thing reminded me, the closest description I can give you, and same thing I told Wayne, I thought at one time it did cross my mind, did someone's orangutan get loose? Because shared the same color.
Like a reddish
auburn
color?
Yeah.
Auburn, red, yeah.
But it was built different. You know what I mean? Built just blockier. Just a lot blockier. But I'll get back, you guys, and the eyes, were different than what the orangutans would look like. The hands were a little bit different. I'm not going to say they were like ours, but in comparison to our, 4 fingers, the thumb was, I'm glad we can all see each other because I try to explain this to people and they don't quite get what I'm trying to say. It was turned inward like that. And I think it's designed for that, for gripping. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was turned inward like that, So I think, when they're grabbing limbs or whatnot, they're not wrapping with that thumb. They're, it's turned and they're gripping like that. That's just,
right.
So, and when I get back, I'll tell you about the second encounter after, and there's a lot of similarities. I think that might be Mama actually, but as far as facial features, man, the eyes, blackness. Like I was telling Wayne, the head shape was not. It wasn't a triangular conical head. It was, and I'm not gonna say it was round either. It was just somewhere in between. Couldn't see any ears. Pretty wide mouth. Nose was, kind of flat, pretty flat actually. It didn't look dirty. Didn't look dirty at all. You hear a lot of people describe matted hair and the stink and the smell. I've never got that in my life out of all the encounters I've had. Never, not one time. I think, well, we don't need to get into that now, but I was going to bring something up. But it's your show, so
it's all good.
As far as the smell, I have my theories behind it. But anyway, it was very, very clean looking. I think they might maybe groom each other. I don't know, or and it was hair. It wasn't fur. It was hair.
Yeah, I would have to say. Yeah, I agree. I know I'm the same way. Sometimes when I describe something, I say hair or fur. I mean, but I don't. But yeah, I agree. I would think it would be more hair.
Me too.
Yeah. I mean, because regardless if it is hair or fur, either way, it's a mammal. We're considered mammals, so. So.
Yeah.
All right, we got questions. I know Wayne is itching to ask his questions because he made it known in the private chat. So,
sure.
Well,
guys,
you just answered it. You just answered it, Jeremiah. I was going to ask you if if you smelled anything, because I know you had the visual of the one, and you felt like there were others around you as you were leaving. So I thought that might be a good opportunity with so many around to get a smell. But you answered it. You didn't.
Nope.
Also, I don't remember if you said that you heard any vocalizations at all from these guys.
Not from that juvenile. Remember I was telling you how after that juvenile took off, about I'd say 50 feet behind me in the brush, would have been on the same side as the skidder. I could see the trees just shaking, and you could hear a couple grunts, and then you heard a bipedal creature walk away. So I think that was Mama.
Okay, and you said that you had a theory on what the smell was.
Yes.
I mean, if everybody don't mind, I'd like to hear your theory.
Sure.
Yeah, go ahead.
I personally, and I could be wrong, it's just a theory. I don't claim to be an expert. I don't think there are any really. But I think it's a glandular thing. Or it could be one of two things or both. It could be a glandular thing where they can. I know a lot of great apes can do it. They have that gland they can release. Orangutans are notorious for it. As well as I think chimps can do it too. But it also, which could be, their way of saying, I'm here. You keep your distance, I'll keep mine. Or to putrefy you. My wife is smelling, and she says it's putrid. But it could be maybe when they get worked up and get excited, it might release on its own as well. So
right.
Maybe it's one of those two things. I don't know. Just a theory. Just a theory. I mean, and then woodland animals are gonna have a little smell to them if you get close enough. I mean, bears stink. If anyone,
right.
Any bear hunters here and you've killed a bear, you're gonna know they stink.
Well, the other thing when it comes to smell, one of the things I've always thought of too is, as far as if we believe they are a type of primate, think about us. If we don't shower and bathe, we get to stink and we get funky real bad.
Yeah.
The body odor. So if I'm just saying, if these creatures don't bathe, which I'm assuming I would think they would have to in a way, because a lot of animals like to get in the water and freshen up. But let's imagine they don't. So you figure between body odor, urine, feces, and and then if they did have an animal kill, any of that blood that gets onto their hair, fur, whatever, that's going to really stink combined with their body odor. So you got one heck of a combination of funk.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so yeah, absolutely. Yeah. All right. Hey, Zach. Oh, get his attention. Let him unmute yourself, Zach.
I think he fell asleep.
He passed out on us, I think.
Zach.
Yeah.
Oh, there he is.
The minion woke up. So, Zach, I want to give you opportunity to go ahead and throw any questions out there that you might have for Jeremiah. Knowing you, it may not be Bigfoot.
I'm sorry, I fell asleep. I've been going since 3:30 this morning.
No excuses. Carry on.
Hey, it's okay, Zach. He fires me every week, and I always come back.
Yeah, she was MIA for the last 3 weeks, but she's still employed. So I mean, she's still on payroll.
I'm still here.
Cause I have to keep her. She's the only one that been dedicated to my podcast for the last I don't know how many episodes.
I don't even know. Well, how long? 5 years?
I don't know.
4 years?
I don't know. Me and you've been on podcasts together since we started with Shane Bradbury on Looking for Bigfoot News Hour and all those. So
hey, wait a minute. Y'all are getting paid?
Right?
Oh, wait a minute. We're still live? Oh, no.
Wayne,
I'm gonna
Wayne, it's only for those who stay past an hour, like 2 hour minimum.
Yeah, you got me there. Got me there.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm.
man. Mm-mm.
Y'all better be happy my
Oh.
girlfriend was the one that woke me up.
Well, I don't know her name, but you can tell her thank you. So, well, Zach, I was giving Jeremiah. I know we'll probably get a little off of Bigfoot here with Zach here because I know Zach. Zach, I gave Jeremiah. Well, you guys are on each other's friends list, but I didn't know how much he knew about you and your local wrestling that you do out there. But I know. Feel free to go ahead and give ask Jeremiah any questions you might have. Or,
Happy to answer anything, bud.
I'm trying to think.
Did you wrestle in high school and stuff too, or just? I got you. Okay.
No, I played baseball in high school. We didn't have
Gotcha.
wrestling. We was a one.
He was a Zach was a cheerleader.
But he ain't kidding. I was mascot. I was
Still had to wear the skirt, but anyway, go ahead. Zach, you know I love you, buddy.
Yeah, I know you do.
It's my show, man. You're after each other.
No, so here's a question for you. What got you started in cage fighting and stuff? Like, was you a big fan of it? Like, who got you? Who's
Absolutely,
your
man.
Who got you started?
Actually, a good question. I would really love to answer. Well, to be honest with you, from the time I started wrestling. New York State's a big wrestling state, and my whole family, we're all wrestlers. My father put me in TV wrestling at 6 years old, even though I had no clue how to move around the mat or anything. He got me on there to get a feel for it and whatnot. As I got older, I got to be pretty good at it. You know what I mean? I hate sounding like I blow my own horn. I hate that. So it's not what I'm trying to do. But I got decent at it. And ended up my senior year. I was a high school All-American. I took second in the country. Got beat by a kid from New Jersey in the finals at the high school nationals. I had 11 different full scholarship offers to Division I colleges. I ended up going to Hofstra University. Zach, you know who Dan Gable is, right?
Who?
Dan Gable.
Dan Gable.
He was the head coach of Iowa for years. He Olympic gold medalist. He didn't get scored on once in the 7-2. In the 7-2 Olympics, he did not get a point scored on him. But anyway, I wrestled for a guy named Tommy Ryan, who was one of Gable's wrestlers. In 92, his whole lineup made All-American, which is unheard of, at that level. So I took that offer. I played around in martial arts, before that, but we had a lot of fighters on the team. So that's how I really started to get into it. I got in college, met a girl, moved to Syracuse. And the whole time I was still into the Bigfoot. I couldn't get out in the field as much, but I was still doing my research. I ended up in Syracuse, and I hooked up with a guy by the name of Ken Cronenberg, who our school was certified under. You ever heard of the Machado family? They're first cousins with the Gracies.
Mm.
Yeah, at first it was Jean-Jacques Machado. He was the one that certified us all their black belts and stuff. And then Marcel Garcia is the guy's name.
Gracie's a badass.
Oh yeah. I tell you what though, I saw. I don't mean to change the other. We went to Brazil in 2003 for the Abu Dhabi World Championships, submission championships, and hung out with Joe Rogan and Eddie Bravo and all those guys. It was a blast. But anyway, Eddie Bravo, who was a brown belt at the time, was the first American ever to choke a Gracie unconscious. He choked Hoyler Gracie, who was a 6th-degree black belt, unconscious. Caught him with a triangle choke from his back. And it was wild. They take that sport very seriously there. But anyway, after being a wrestler, wrestlers make good jiu-jitsu guys, and I'd be more what you would call, I consider myself more of a submission wrestler. Sambo, stuff like that. But I got into the MMA, traveled the world, learned how to kickbox, stuff like, and just went from there, man. Just train. But unfortunately, back in, and this is a perfect example, I can't remember the year, but if I had my head shaved, I would show you. I got a scar right that long on my head. I was in an MMA title fight, and I was controlling the fight. I went in to take the guy down, and it was a timing thing. As soon as I went in for the shot, he wound up with a Muay Thai kick and caught me right on top of the head with the shin and split me wide open, and I just went boom. And from that point on, I started getting seizures. The TBI. I got the brain injury, but like an idiot at 35, I had something to prove to myself, so I came out of retirement. Won a belt. I defended it one more time after that successfully, and my wife said, "That's it. I'm not going to risk you being a vegetable the rest of your life." Which I get that. I get it. Especially with the injury I have now. So now everything's all research and the shows, and so yeah. I mean, I love pretty cool.
You was talking about submission wrestling. Me being a pro wrestler and everything.
Yes.
I am a student of submission wrestling. Like
Okay.
I watch a lot of Vern Gagne, Luthez.
Okay.
There's who's the other one?
You ever heard of Jeff Munson?
Huh?
Jeff Munson? Jeff Munson? You ever heard of Jeff Munson? Jeff Munson?
Name rings a bell. I might have seen a match of his the other day.
He's a bad dude. He short, bald, jacked. He actually put me out of my misery one time with a chokehold. But
there's a lot of some of the pro wrestlers that are local around here. One guy I work with a lot. His name he wrestles under the gimmick String Bean, and he's your average wrestler. He's about 6'4", weighs probably about 260, 265.
Big boy.
And he wrestles under a mask. And he's working on all this kind of stuff, and he's wanting to do this submission hold. That's called the String Bean's vine hold. And
oh boy, that just sounds unpleasant.
I started bouncing all these kind of things off of him. Like I put him in one hold, and every single one of these holds that I put you in, these are legitimate submission holds. Sure. You don't want to cinch you up on them.
Right.
I'd get him like in a front guillotine, or I'll get him, wrap it, put him in a body scissors, put his chin right here, and I'll just start cinching up on it. Or I'll put it
like a neck crank type deal.
Crank.
Yeah.
Or I'll put his toes here behind my back and his heel right here.
Heel hook. Yep.
And start cinching up, and I'll put a leg scissor on him, and I'll bridge and start wrenching the knee while I'm putting a heel hook on him.
Yeah, that'll do the trick.
Or one of my personal favorites that Luthez used a lot was the key lock, where he would take, and I can't get my legs up, but he would take and he would put his hand right here in the crook of the elbow, put one knee right here and one knee right here, and he would hook it figure four style, his knee, ankle, and start wrenching that elbow to the point where it's about ready to dislocate.
Yep. You know exactly what you're talking about. Yep.
And they hate me, though, because I'm a true heel. I'll pull their hair. I'll bite them, pull their ears. I'll gouge their eyes. They hate me. I'm just waiting for Shaggy right here in the top corner of the Virginia Buzzsaw to go and try and square up with me in a ring once. And you was talking about working with Royce Gracie. There's actually a guy that wrestles for our promotion named Roger Minton. Wrestles under the Viking King Roger Mathis. He was an MMA fighter, and he trained with the Gracies and with American Top Team in Boulder, Colorado.
Okay, American Top Team would be where Jeff Munson trained. That's how I know Jeff. Yep.
And Roger Minton was actually trained by Royce Gracie and Bobby Lashley.
Okay. Yep. Yeah, American Top Team. I'm very familiar with that. We used to we used to compete against them back in the day, and they were tough. Wow. Tough team, man.
And all the trainees that train at the school I train at, they want to do all the flashy spots and everything. I just want to get in there and shoot.
Sure.
And it scares them to death because I'm old school. My granddad was a carnival wrestler. My mother was a promoter with the Poffos with ICW. My mom dated a wrestler that was a jobber named Texas Tony Fountain. She knew all the big name wrestlers like Andre, the Sheik, Nikolai.
Very cool. Very cool, man. Before, one more thing, Dan. Let me just ask him this question real quick. Sorry.
You're fine.
Okay, so we old roommate of mine from college, Phil Baroni, actually hopped in the WWE for a while. I don't know if you remember him, but also I wrestled when the year I graduated was the same year Brock Lesnar graduated as well. So I know Brock. Yeah.
Oh wow.
And yeah, he's a beast, but he's very not very flexible and loose. You know what I mean? But anyway, yeah.
There's the guy that owns the promotion that I work for, Tyler Heath Hatton. He wrestles under the name Heath Hatton. He's been wrestling now for the past 10 years, and he's done a lot of TV work. He's done work for WWE, Ring of Honor, Impact Wrestling.
Very cool.
Whenever he actually in his first WWE show he wrestled at Extreme Rules 2012 against Ryback.
Okay.
And he actually made the Titantron entrance video.
Very cool. Cool, man.
Yeah. Yeah, Zach, with the experience you mentioned that your mom had, that explains why she's always putting you in chokeholds and body slamming you when you don't clean your room.
No, she just chokes the shit out of me. Okay, she gets you in a claw hold and you're done. You ain't doing that.
Cool, man. If you ever have any questions or feel free to hit me up, man.
Yeah,
no problem. I'm always willing to talk squash and willing to talk, any type of combat sport. So.
While we were just on that subject there. Yeah, I've always had dreams of wanting to do that stuff, but those were a long time ago. I took martial arts at a young age. When I was a young kid before I moved down to Virginia, I was into Kempo, Shorin Kempo Kung Fu, and I did that for I did it for a very short while. And then, after we moved down here later on, I got into doing Taekwondo, and we picked up a little bit of Aikido, some basic jiu-jitsu moves, but that was, like I said, I was in my teenage years then, but, and I'm 40 now, so.
Aikido. The thing with Aikido, though, is it's such an effective system, but you got to train it for so long to be able to actually use it.
Oh, yeah.
It's very deadly. It's a very effective system if you know what you're doing.
Well, the thing about Aikido, the moves, they could actually be so graceful, but yet, like you said, deadly. Graceful, but deadly. And, it's
like
just
jiu-jitsu. Yeah, very smooth and fluid, but deadly,
Absolutely.
Also, whenever I was in college and everything, because not only am I a student of submissions, I studied massage therapy and human anatomy, so I know where a lot of the pressure points are and everything, and a lot of leverage points. Like one time, this guy thought he could shoot on me, and I told him just be easy about it. I just said I'm a little out of shape, and he started to go tough on me and started to roughhouse with me, and I put him in a double wrist lock, and I snapped his elbow.
I guess he learned his lesson.
Dislocated his elbow and did a spiral fracture from his elbow all the way to his shoulder, and his arm was in a full cast for about 9 weeks.
Well, I
Zach,
again.
Zach, you see Harold's comment?
Yeah, Harold, you get in the ring, I'll whoop you.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, sorry, man. I told you I tend to get when it comes to the martial arts, I tend to run.
Oh, it's all good. Yes, it's all good. That's always been a big part of my life, you know, even though I don't practice it anymore. I mean, I'm still very much a big fan of martial arts, and you know, when I was a young kid too.
You don't.
What's that?
You don't forget it.
Yeah, well, I mean, as far as like, I don't attend no classes or train that way. You know, I find myself doing things on my own in private. You know, as far as different things, but I'm not nowhere as flexible or limber as I once was. I mean, if you go through some of my Facebook pages, my pictures, you'll see some of my flexibility in my old martial art uniforms. But that's been, like I said, a long time ago. So I'm pretty rusty on that.
I get you there, man. I can relate.
So yeah, but yeah, growing up, I mean, it was like every week or every 2 weeks to a month. I mean, I was getting copies of the Black Belt magazine, you know, collecting every movie I can. I was really big into it. So
absolutely, yeah.
Black Belt.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Black Belt. Yeah, the Black Belt magazine is where I learned about the Gracies and, you know, and some of the other well-known martial artists out there, you know. So, but it's pretty good stuff. So.
All right, I got a quick question. What did you see the McGregor and Cowboy fight?
I did. I missed it.
I was going to say, at the night after that fight, that 40-second fight where Conor knocked him out in the first round in 40 seconds, Dave was talking and everything. Hatton and Spade was talking, and they said Hatton was swearing up and down that it was a work. There was nothing like a shoot about it, because they come in straight into the clinch, and then Conor threw the shoulder thrust, and then Cowboy fed into the head kick.
I'm going to have to check that out. Yeah. Sounds like it could be for sure. Yeah.
Now, we may be jumping back to Bigfoot now. I want to give Nikki an opportunity to get in there. I'm sure she's probably had something.
Whenever I get on a wrestling kick.
I agree too. Talk about Ronda Rousey.
I love Ronda.
I love Ronda. Okay, I've got heat with Ronda Rousey. Okay,
you
why?
I got heat with Ronda Rousey because she blocked me on Twitter.
Oh, okay.
Over a comment that I made to her, because that was back whenever I was working heel and everything, and I'm like, I got to. She is setting me up with a slow pitch down the middle. I got to fucking swing.
I tell you, she knows how to set that arm bar up, man. Wow.
She went, and I mean, she got heat with a lot of people in pro wrestling. I mean, Jim Cornette threw a fit about it. Nia Jax called her out on it, and she went and whatever she said about pro wrestling being fake fights for fun with your friends. There is nothing fake about pro wrestling. It hurts.
Oh no, I agree. What happened?
Well, I seen the episode. I seen the episode when she was on there on WWE. Yeah, she got her butt handed to her on there, didn't she? Though.
I haven't watched any of her WWE stuff, but
yeah, I think Zach was the one that actually sent me one of the video clips to that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whenever she just because here's the thing, what happened was her run was going down was being a low draw, and it was progressively declining on her drawing power as a talent. And
Sure.
She just got fed up because the fans turned on her like they did in the UFC after she had her first loss against Holly Holmes.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, the fans were turning on her.
Well, she got a big head.
Her ego is
she let all that shit get to her.
Yeah.
And I mean, she just went.
And if we don't like that,
she said it live in an interview about the fans. Fuck them.
Yeah, I think that'll turn them against you real quick.
Yeah, you don't do that.
You got to be confident.
She was a face.
You can't be arrogant.
She's working as a face, and she turned heel.
Yeah.
On her own.
Mm.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I will agree with you there, man.
Anyway, okay, we're changing the subject.
Yeah, you go.
That's over with. I have been sitting here trying to remember where I know Jeremy from.
We've met before.
I think we have met before.
I know we have.
Were you ever associated with Jevning in the JRG group?
For years.
Okay, that's where I think I know you from.
Yeah, I was Will's executive director for the whole JRG worldwide for years.
Right. I followed him for a while.
Yeah, with his blessing, I just felt it was time for me to.
Well, yeah, I stopped following him a long time ago, just for my own personal reasons. I wasn't getting information that I felt I needed.
Right.
Yes, I think he's a very smart guy with a lot of books and a lot of experiences. But I was not getting what I wanted to. And I'm not the type to give people shit about it. I just went on.
Right. On. And that's what I did. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think that was it. That's where I had on podcasts and stuff.
Yep. That's it. Because I used to do the old notes in the field with him, and remember Blab chat and all that.
Uh-huh.
Way back in the day.
Yeah, way back. It's been a while.
It's been a while. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's where I knew. So you're in New York now, but you were in where? South Carolina?
Nope. My wife and I grew up here in the Adirondack area. And that's where my family owns. That's where we own all our land. My wife, she was my high school crush. Wouldn't give me the time of day as kids though. Anyway, her mother is originally from North Carolina. So we decided to go on and move down there and give it a shot down there. But it just, the Adirondacks are home to me, so, and we have the land up here and whatnot. But I tell you what, we had a hell of an active area down there. Yeah. Extremely.
Yeah, we know a lot of people with the Squatch Watchers that are there in North Carolina.
Oh my God. Just unbelievable. Very, very, very active area. Yeah. I mean, we were in a very rural neighborhood, and they would.
You gotta go, Wayne.
Hey guys. It is time for me to get out of here. Jeremiah, good talking to you, buddy. I'll catch up.
Oh, absolutely, Wayne.
Daniel, appreciate it.
Remember, Wayne. Remember, Wayne. This is why you're not on the payroll, but I understand you got to go.
I just consider myself lucky to get an autographed book or something, Daniel. Just help me out or something.
Hey, that's a deal. Just come up to the conference this next coming June.
Yeah, that's what he said to me, and then they got canceled.
Got you, buddy.
Yeah, the one that got canceled this year. So, all right. Thank you, Wayne.
Good. I'll see you.
See you, Wayne.
All right. Yeah, Wayne's always fun to have on here.
Really good questions.
Yeah, good guy.
So, all right. Now, those the encounters and the sightings you had at the construction site. How long ago did that take place?
Okay. The one with the Juby was in 2000.
Okay.
All 2000. So you're going back 20 years, The next one with my big girl, I call her, was in 2007. I had actually went down to it was still kind of, it wasn't rifle season yet, hunting season. Actually, it was bear season, so I did brought my 300 Win Mag with me. So we have a big, huge natural artesian spring down there. It's beautiful. These white quicksand bubbling all year round. It's just gorgeous, and that's one of the reasons I think they spend so much time there. But that's besides the point. Anyway, I went down to actually do some work on the stand. Just to do some work on it, maybe sit for an hour. So I did what I had to do. I got in the tree stand, sat there for a little bit, and all of a sudden I hear a "Bah!" Like it wasn't the guttural type yell. It was a cross between how do I put this? It was like an Ohio howl, but not as long. You know what I mean? That type.
Oh yeah.
And it's funny because, again, that sixth sense, when I just didn't feel right the whole time. At that point, I said, okay, I'm going to get on out of here now. So I had the weapon strapped over my shoulder. And with a 300 mag, I mean, you're pretty much good. Encountering, defending yourself with whatever you got to defend yourself against, usually.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, so I'm coming around the bend to pick up the logging road so I had to go by the spring. And, well, I look, and 5 feet offshore is a tree that I had never seen before in 40 years of going down there. So I said, that's a bit odd. Here I am thinking, hallucinating, and all of a sudden, the tree turns its waist and looks at me. I said to myself, you have got to be kidding me. And she had in her right arm, she had vegetation. What was the last of the vegetation that was growing in the spring. My guess is she had been eating it. I don't know that for a fact. You could almost, I was very close. I was probably 30 feet away from her, maybe a little bit more. This encounter terrified me. And I'm going to be honest with you. It terrified me. We talked about, I think we talked about this part the other night when, she was in the water. Okay. She was standing offshore. The water probably went maybe a little bit below her knees. So I can't give you an exact estimate, height on her. She was all of 7.5 feet. She was a big girl. And if I had to guess a weight, I would say 600 pounds.
Whoa.
I mean, she was a gargantuan. Now, here's the other thing, though. I was telling Wayne this last time we were on. You could see obvious breasts, but they didn't sag like Patty's, as far down as Patty's. So maybe she hadn't bred yet, or she was, or younger, either or is a possibility, I guess, but yeah, she was just massive, man. Her head was more round, to be honest with you. More round. It didn't really have a triangular shape to it at all. I mean, maybe a tiny bit, not much. Her eyes were just massive, just gargantuan, and that's what really got me. When she looked at me, okay, her eyes. I would, if I had to guess, I would say eyes were maybe 7-8 inches apart. And when she looked at me directly in the eye, and she saw the barrel of that 300 mag on my shoulder, she looked at that, didn't move her head, didn't move her waist again or anything. I saw her eyes flicker towards the barrel of the rifle. The look she gave me the only way I can put it is my buddy and research partner, Sean Wilson, I like the way he says it's from the movie Tombstone. Well, you gonna skin that smoke wagon or just stand there? And that's the look she gave me. And basically she was telling me this is how I feel. It's just a theory. We're not gonna have any issues unless you go for that piece on your shoulder. We're gonna go our separate ways, but if you go for it, I guarantee I will make it to you first. And she would have. Not only her, but probably the ones behind me too. So not that I know they were there, but I don't believe 95% of the time I don't believe they travel alone, So, and that's when I was telling you about the flicker with those.
Yeah.
You mind if I mention that to them real quick?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I was telling Dan the other night when we did our roundtable on my panel. I've been looking for answers for this for years, and I've heard one other case of it. One other case. Now, after she looked at that rifle, looked back at me, she had what, the only way I can put it is, when a shark bites into something and that cover comes up over their eye?
Mm-hmm.
To I think it's to protect bone or whatever, or from flying into their eyes when they bite. It's probably for many things. It's the only way I can describe it. Something came from, and it came from the bottom up, not from the top down. It was like a membrane or something that came from her lower eye, and it flickered about 5 times, up and down, 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 up and down. And it wasn't, I can't say that it was completely transparent because it wasn't, but it was transparent enough where I could still see the black eyes. You know what I mean? And that was the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. And I've seen some weird stuff in my day as a researcher, but that, I can't explain it.
Shout out to Bill Benoit. What's up, Bill?
Good old dad.
Hey, your dad.
Dad.
Hey, Dad. Hey, Bill.
I like Bill.
I just can't explain it. I can't. And my dad, I asked my dad about it. I asked all my uncles, my native relatives, and they said that they do have, that some types of these things do have a membrane. And after our roundtable the other night, I gave them a shout, and they did mention that they believe it's to help. Number one, to help with them see at night. Somehow, I don't know how. The
only creature I know with the nictitating membrane is like a shark.
Exactly.
So it's really
What
interesting.
about,
That's what blew my mind.
what about the screech owl? Don't they have something
Here's
like
the
that
thing,
also? That second membrane
shark-
I think they
maybe
do.
to
Yeah.
block
Right.
out
They do.
Yeah.
to block out some of the light.
Sure. Yeah. I'm sure. I think a lot. I actually thought a lot.
Frogs
Some of the
do,
birds
Zach.
of prey were known for it.
I'm sure there's other reptiles that probably have that too.
Yes.
Gators, probably.
Well, yeah, gators. Yeah,
Gators,
snake.
Crocodiles.
But I was
gators.
trying to think of mammals.
I can't think
Yeah,
I don't think of any.
I
I don't know. I
And I-
haven't researched it, so I don't know.
and I know what I
No,
saw.
that's
I mean,
actually-
I was so close to her. There's no way that I misidentified. There's just no way. I was so close to her.
Crazy.
And once we got that, and the impressive, I tell people this. Okay, yes, her shoulders were wide. Okay, but what was impressive about her wasn't the width; it was the thickness from front to back. That was what really impressed me when she took off, and her weight. She was so heavy. When you're wearing a pair of muck boots and you're stuck in the mud and you pull them out and it makes that popping sound.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Her weight, she was so buried in that mud. Like when she pulled those legs
About
out.
the average
and took off.
size.
What's that? What'd you say, Jimmy? I didn't
What
hear
about the average size that you've seen? Like what about the average size that you've seen in your area?
In my area, I have seen my wife saw what we believe is the alpha male of the group, and when we measured, she showed me. But I'll get back to mine in a second. The other one I saw, but anyway, when we measured, she showed me where the limb he walked under when he walked away. The bottom of the limb from the ground up was 10'6", and he cleared it. She said by about 2.5, 3 inches. So he was he was 10'2", 10'3", and
Wow.
that's big. You know, my brother-in-law or my
what wasn't this like? Didn't you say up near Canada in this
Yes.
area where this happened at?
I could walk to Canada from there, literally.
You know, I've noticed a lot of researchers that are spotting Bigfoot and so close to the border.
Yes.
They tend to be a whole lot taller and bigger and even aggressive. Have you encountered the aggressiveness from a clan?
Here's the deal. Here's the deal on that. I was just telling these guys, I think you took off for a while, but I did have one aggressive encounter with them down there. And that was when I believe I interrupted a hunt and they escorted me out. Otherwise, I've never had a problem with that group. There's other areas that I research where you can almost feel the tension in the air. They're more aggressive, way more aggressive. And down on, the reservation, the St. Lawrence River runs right through there. Now they talk about it. I was telling Daniel, I think I told you about this. They talk about a type that is more proportionally built like us. They don't get much taller. A big male might reach 8 feet, 600 pounds, which is still big compared to us. But they'll hang out in those marshes all year round, and I got a story. If you got a pretty cool encounter with one, if you guys want to hear it, not.
Oh yeah.
My own.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Before you say anything,
go ahead.
We our other panel member, Mr. Pat Turner, joined us. He's in the back row. Oh, there he is.
Oh, okay.
Welcome, Pat.
How's it going?
Hey guys.
Well, since Pat was watching another podcast, I got to take him off of payroll this week. But anyway, you can smile, Pat. I'm just joking. Okay, but
I'm here.
Yeah, Pat, you missed a pretty good. So far for the first hour, it's been going real well. But yeah. Pat, if you don't know Jeremiah, meet Pat. Pat, meet Jeremiah.
Hey, man. How you doing?
Pleasure.
Yeah, good to meet you.
I know two encounters of this with this type. That I'm speaking of. One of them, my dad is half Native American. We still have relatives that live on the reservation. So we get a lot of good info. And he may or may not have been doing something on the river between Canada and the U.S. that he may or may not have been supposed to be doing one night. But anyway, that's besides the point. Anyway, he had ran into an official boat earlier in the evening, and he thought he saw it coming in the distance, so he killed his motor, killed his lights, and then he was just drifting. And he come into a channel, where it really narrowed. Well, it was about from one side to the other, you're probably talking 50 feet at the most. So he's right in the middle, which you're talking 25 feet from where he saw it. He got a good look at this thing. Anyway, he went dark completely. But he heard splashing in the water, like something was in the water, either fishing, cleaning itself, or whatever. I don't know. Well, he said he pulled out a spotlight, and he said he lit this thing right up. And lo and behold, it was one of these types I'm talking about. He said it looked to him. He got the impression it was a male. Not gray. Okay, I want to emphasize that silver, like a silver color. He said it was about 7.5, maybe 8 feet, probably 500 pounds. Like I told you before, they described them as a little bit, small, which is still, let's face it, that's big, But anyway, they're more proportionally built like us, shorter arms than what we're used to, with the other types, hanging below the knees and stuff. These actually come up above the knee. And here's the kicker. And you guys probably think I'm insane, but this is what he told me. Or told my dad, when he lit it up, the face was pink. It was a pinkish color. But you have to think about it this way. Look, you got baboons, macaques. Look at their faces.
Yep.
Pink.
Mm-hmm.
And this type has no facial hair whatsoever. No facial hair at all. When it saw him, it kind of looked at him for a second, turned around, and it just walked back into the tall vegetation, and it was gone. One other story I know about that type. I know a gentleman that was hunting down there in his tree stand. He's sitting there just waiting and waiting and waiting. And he had been seeing deer every day, but for some reason it seemed very quiet. And he said he looked to his right and he sees this black upright bipedal whatever walking down the hill towards his tree stand. Okay. And the thing walks. It gets closer and closer and closer and closer, and he lost control of himself. He said, like I was saying earlier, same thing I did when I saw that big female. But he said it stopped directly in front of his tree stand. Okay, and the bottom. This one was actually a little bit larger, but it was the same type. But the bottom of his tree stand, okay, from what he tells us, was about, you plant your feet and your feet are about 6 feet off the ground. And he said the thing almost was able to look him in the eye. And this thing was no more than 5 feet away from him. From the tree. Turned, just looked at him and turned and went about its business.
Yeah, I've heard of similar things here in Virginia from other stories I've been shared. But now you were talking about the types. It's funny that you mentioned types because I have a couple things written down because some you've been describing different descriptions. And one of the things I've heard you speak about and you brought it up in on the roundtable. A lot of people believe that Gigantopithecus is extinct. Now, in the different types, you describe one as being what you refer to as a Gigantopithecus. Now, would you be willing to kind of give us a rundown on how you describe it as a Gigantopithecus?
I wouldn't say that's what it is, but as far as size-wise goes, it's closest thing I can put it to.
Okay.
That I have never seen the one my wife saw. But I can just imagine at 10'3", you're talking, I'd be willing to bet easily well over 1,000 pounds. I think these things are a lot heavier than people think they are.
Right.
With that female I saw, she was all of 600. Now my nephew and I did see what I kind of believe might be second in line for that alpha spot. And we saw him, we were, way, way back in the land that summer of 2016, and it was July. We saw him. We came upon a trail that we were going to cut down. And just as we're coming down that trail, I looked diagonal. Okay. and we see something moving through the brush, and I couldn't get a good view at the time, but the brush, it opened up into a clear spot with moss, and he comes walking out. This thing, I say he because I got the vibe it was a male. Now, you know, I've worked with trees all my life, so, you know, I'm a good judge on judging height. And this boy, he was all 9 feet. And I would have to say we got within, you know, 70, 80 feet of him. But what he did was, when he noticed, he didn't notice it for us at first, which surprised me. That really surprised me. And I did have a shotgun on me that may have kind of freaked him out a little bit. Now, what he did was, when he hit that moss, he took a look at us kind of for a second, and he jumped into there's a swamp right there. Okay. Jumped into that swamp. He dropped down, and we didn't see him for a second. Okay. And you're talking a matter of 1, 2, and we look, how about it? I'd say 120 feet up this way, directly in front of us, and we saw him jump into the wood line. So I personally, just a theory, of course, I think he had dropped to all fours, skedaddled to that spot, got to where he thought he was safe from us, and then jumped back into the wood line. That's the biggest one I have ever seen personally.
Yeah, because you were talking about weight and everything. You know, I do believe these things have more muscle mass versus body fat, which is common. Yeah, which is common with other non-human primates. You know, chimps, gorillas, and so forth. That's why a majority of them don't lack the ability to actually swim. You know, because they normally will sink like a rock because of their muscle mass, you know,
right?
And which gives them more weight, because, you know, a lot of people don't realize that muscle outweighs fat, you know.
Yeah, big time.
I don't get that, dude. I don't understand when people say that about muscle mass versus body fat ratio,
right?
How that ever applies to water, because the best human swimmers in the world have zero body fat.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, that makes no sense.
It doesn't, but if you read into it, it actually explains a lot of it. I understand.
It's the air in your lungs that makes you buoyant in the water. It has nothing to do with your body fat whatsoever.
I mean, for example, like, we could float. If something like a chimpanzee was to try to float, they would actually just sink. I mean, but yeah, I agree.
Because they don't physically know how to swim.
Right.
Yeah.
I have
they're not aquatic at all. Yeah.
Right. I have heard stories, though. You know, Nikki, you and I were talking earlier how we both knew, you know, Will and stuff. I've heard some. He's told me some. You know, some stories. Reports he's taken. Like, you know, back in the day of these things swimming, and supposedly the way they swim, it's all like a frog leg kick.
Sure.
You know, I mean, I don't know. I didn't see it, so, but that's just what I was told secondhand. So
yeah, surely they could swim, and again, it has nothing to do with body fat. If you look at an Olympic swimmer and their ability. They have the best ability out of all humans in the world to swim. They have zero body fat, man. They're lean as hell.
They are really.
So that body fat has nothing to do with how you exist in the water as a primate or whatever. It's a completely irrelevant to the discussion. But I'd like to go jump back into sort of the. You know how big they are?
Yeah.
In Gigantopithecus, I mean, number one, you know, with Gigantopithecus, we don't know enough. It's all like Gigantopithecus is hyper speculative.
Yeah, and see that's my problem with trying to compare them to Giganto is I've never seen a Gigantopithecus,
and no one has, because
we have
no fossil record of them other than their teeth
teeth
and one jawbone. That's it.
Right.
So we don't actually know how big they are.
No.
And there's pretty much today there's a consensus, if you want to call it that, theory that they were probably about 20% bigger than a gorilla. They weren't 12 feet tall.
You're right.
Probably didn't walk on two legs. I mean, but all that's speculation anyway, right?
It's all.
Yeah.
That's all it is. Yeah. We just don't know.
Yeah, but so when you're talking about Sasquatch, most people say they're about 8 feet tall. That's the average. I'd say the average
for a good sized male. Yeah. Again, depending on the type.
Right.
Because I was while you were gone, we were talking about what I deal with up here.
Yeah.
We deal with up here. We deal with some pretty good sized ones. My wife saw that one that was over 10 feet. I have a native friend of mine that actually just passed away. Anyway, he was a unbelievable researcher, and he would go to Manitoba every year for about 6 months and do nothing but research. And he would come back. You ever seen that Monster Quest episode where the cabin was destroyed?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
He had him and his buddy had a cabin that was totally destroyed. They had launched wood stoves like torpedoes through the walls. Just destroyed the place. And he said and this guy was a no nonsense guy, just a good dude. And they, I have the print somewhere. I'll find him and get him to Daniel so he can show you guys. But 22 inches were the largest prints he's ever found, but that's up in Manitoba, way up north. I have a set, Daniel, I sent you yesterday, I believe.
Yeah.
The ones in the snow.
Wait, snow?
Yeah.
I can't remember. I would go back and look, but I'm using my phone for my audio, so it would mess it up.
Okay, I'll send them to you again, and then you can share them with everyone here. I don't mind.
Okay.
As long as everyone just keeps them to themselves. We ran in one night into, we were, in the area, and we ran into two sets. Okay, two sets walking side by side. I had a pair of leather gloves on with the wrist extension on it, which are about 10 inches. These were about 10 inches, these particular ones. I know that's what they were 10 inches. I didn't have a tape measure on me at the time. We weren't squatching. We were just out and about walking, and, it had just snowed, and we found two sets, and they were just massive. And I laid we laid the glove down, and I'll be damned if that glove wasn't about half the size of one of the sets, which would have put it around, my guess to be 19, 20 inches. And the other set was maybe an inch or two smaller. So they were large.
Yeah, no, I do have those pictures of the tracks you sent me in the mud. Yeah, those ones there.
Yes.
I remember you had the tape measure on them. I think they were around 10, 11 inches.
Yeah, one of them was 13. Yeah, but yeah.
13, okay.
11 and 12 was and there was more there. I have to send you. I lost my Google account a couple weeks ago. As soon as I get everything out of my cloud, I'll send you more. But all around that bank that day. All around that bank. And did you notice how those toes were splayed?
Yeah, and I noticed, and when you were talking, you described about the one that was kind of pointed, because you believe that's the pointed toenail.
That's why I wanted your thoughts on that. That one track. Did you notice the toenails on that thing?
Mainly on the big toe. The other ones, I think, a little bit, but it was more distinct on the bigger toe.
On the big toe, okay. And did you see? Then there's the one. What's your opinion on that one I sent you? remember I was telling you I've been debating with myself whether that's a 4-toed track or a 5.
That one there, I remember, trying to remember, that one there, because like I said, I would look them up on my phone, but it'll mess me up. But from what I recall,
Mhm.
It almost looked like there was a fifth toe there, but there was something there that looks like it. Wherever a step, there was something kind of hiding it. But
Yes.
regardless, I mean, we've heard of 3-toed tracks belonging to possibly Bigfoot, but I never seen one. However, as far as a 4-toed track, I don't see why that wouldn't be too. I wouldn't say that's far fetched at all. If it was only 4 toes.
We found one, and Travis will tell you the same thing. Travis found one as well. So I sent him a picture of the one I had. It almost looks like the old Yeti print with the toes side by side, and then the rest. It's just very bizarre. Very bizarre. I found some funky when I was living in North Carolina. We found some funky looking tracks.
Well, if I may, real quick, to go back to the length and size.
Yes.
So 20 inches, 22 inches.
Yes.
People just in the Bigfoot world just kind of they just kind of assume that means some kind of height that they have no idea what they're talking about.
And it doesn't. Yeah, I agree.
It doesn't at all. Like,
I agree.
Yeah, because Shaquille O'Neal, he's a big guy. He's not the biggest guy, but he's a big dude. I've seen him in person. His foot's 16 inches long. So even if you found a track that was 22 inches, you're talking 9 feet basically. You're not talking 12 feet. You're not talking.
No. I agree.
Yeah, and I'm not speaking toward you personally, Jay. There's some interaction and comments about it.
I agreed. It's not going to be.
Yeah. This is what he's He's more or less applying to this comment here, which. Yeah, he's if one ever pops up.
Oh. Yeah, and really, like, if you wanted to be realistic about Sasquatch, and say that they're living, breathing, some sort of hominid or something, that they're not, throw away all the supernatural stuff and say they're just real. There's no way they could ever really get taller walking on 2 feet than. I would max it out at 11 feet personally. Yeah. Because after that you have, square cube law where the muscle mass, basically they couldn't walk. They would be laying on the ground dying at that size, So there's no way one could ever be 15 feet tall. That's way too big of a biped. A Tyrannosaurus Rex was 15 feet tall.
Right.
And so you look how that design was more of a pivotal design.
Yeah. That's a good point. I never thought of that. And I'm in agreement. I mean, like you were saying, with a 20-inch track, my opinion, you're talking 9 or 10 feet at the most, 10 feet at the most,
Yeah.
But not 12. No, I don't see it. Personally, I have heard of 11-footers from my native buddy. But here's the thing: like you just made a good point. Not all of them, not all these massive creatures he reported seeing up in Manitoba. Okay, he'd call me and say, "Hey, we saw one today. It was about 10 feet." But they'd find the tracks and they'd only be 16 inches. So just because the foot, just like you were saying, just because the track is however long, that doesn't necessarily mean it matches up with a certain height. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. It really doesn't. Like I said, I mean, Shaquille O'Neal's foot is 16 inches long, man.
Right.
and he's about 7 feet.
Yeah, I think he's like 7'2".
Yeah, roughly. 7'2". So, I mean, it doesn't add up. I mean, if you found a 30-inch trackway, that would be something to be concerned about. But
yeah.
But then at that point, I'm saying, hey guys, we're not looking for a hominid. This is a cyborg. Like, there's mechanics involved. You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, there's mechanics.
Right.
This thing has a Wolverine like skeleton, or something.
Yeah. I hear you. But I mean,
and maybe so. I'm not saying that that's not the case. All I'm saying is, if you're talking about a flesh and blood creature of this earth, there's nothing that's walked on 2 legs, that's 15 feet tall, that doesn't look like a Tyrannosaurus Rex. Not a primate,
Yeah. I agree. It's good stuff.
Cool.
Excellent stuff.
Right. Show's over, guys.
One last comment. One last thing I wanted to add to that. I think the only accurate thing you can judge, and it depends on the ground, of course, how conducive it is to the track. The only thing you can really judge accurately might be the weight. That'd be, you'd be able to judge that closer than you would the height. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
With the impression.
Right. With the impression. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But even then,
That's
still,
weird.
you're not going to get a exact weight. I mean, it's just.
Yeah. I mean, it's better.
It's better. Right.
To see it. To see what left the track,
Absolutely.
Like, yeah, which is what's amazing about the Patterson-Gimlin film, and the fact that they went in and plastered those casts from Patty.
Yes.
So we actually have a visual and physical evidence to go along with it, and that rarely happens in the Bigfoot world.
Yeah, and you'll meet him next time you're on the panel, Dan. My forensics guy, Israel. He rides us hard about that. Oh my God. You can't just take a picture of the print. You gotta scope the whole, he's extremely intelligent. He works for a certain agency. He works forensics. Started out in intelligence, but he's very, very, very sharp. He's actually this weekend when we do the round, he's going to pull out some tools they use, and so it's going to be kind of a forensics discussion. But he's on me all the time about that. You can't just take a picture over the top of the print. You got to look for more, at least 2 pieces of evidence.
Right. Absolutely.
So.
And talking about foot tracks and stuff, collecting evidence. So, and this has been stuck in my head ever since this has been shared with me. But when you come across a trackway, if possible, I mean, if because I think it's rare to come across a trackway, but it does happen. But as far as for DNA purposes, for study purposes as well, I know one of my former speakers at one of my conferences, which is, he's had I guess you could say a connection with the late Dr. John Bindernagel. And some of the things they did, one of the things they discussed as far as collecting evidence in such a way where mainstream science would actually consider the possibility of more of its existence than totally denying it, would be they would come up with ways, more or less, what's the word I'm looking for? Protocols, steps. Yeah, and procedures and steps to take. Yeah. For example, you come across a trackway, your DNA is possibly in that track.
They never clean it out.
Right, and so you could take samples of that track, and also take a separate sample outside of that track for so the chemistry labs and stuff, they could do their studies and comparisons, and see what they come up with. That's just one of the things, but I'll never forget that, which I have yet to do that. next time I come across a track, I need to try to remember that or make notes for myself to take out there with me to do such a thing, because I'm curious to see what would turn out about that. Because if that was the case, like I said, I do have a place to send that to. I'm very much welcome to send samples there or whatever. So, but yeah, there's other procedures and steps. Yeah, that I think we could all start taking to be more beneficial in the field. So
he wants to start doing some live stuff from the field as far as evidence processing and stuff like that for the panel you were on the other night with us. So.
Well, there's actually been several times, like in my area, I would love to go live out there, but there's no phone reception out there.
That's a problem I have too. Most of my areas, I don't get any phone reception.
Yeah,
some of them I do, some I don't.
So yeah, I do try to video and do video documentation of what I'm doing when I'm out there. If I come across stuff, and then later on I'll upload it as a field video to my YouTube channel.
Right.
So, we are coming to a close, but I want to go back and forth with Nikki and Pat. Nikki's been kind of quiet. Nikki, do you have anything you want to throw out there or ask?
Well, it's really interesting conversation right now because everything we're talking about is still, Jerimiah has had some awesome contact and experiences seeing, Sasquatch.
Yes,
I don't have that to go off of. All I have is science and books and people's stories. So naturally, that's why I'm thinking more of, he says in your area, they're tending to be shorter and stockier with shorter arms. And
that's okay. I didn't mean to cut you off, but that's we deal with a couple different types up here.
Oh, okay. But that's amazing.
Those on the reservation that live along the St. Lawrence River.
Because that's a good thing, because that's more believable that there are many different types. Not all of them are. Not all of them are going to have long arms past their knees, or going to be the same color, or going to have the same face.
No.
We don't know if he's albino or if he was whatever.
Exactly.
And there's a lot of cases on the reservations of the albinoism and the blue or white eye. Even there's several cases.
Yeah, we talked about that the other night. Yeah.
And so just like human beings, I think they have a wide variety that they are all over. From Florida being more orangey, and you mentioned the whole fact about that you saw one that looked more orangutan.
Yes.
In appearance, that they could be up there. There could be, different in the swampy areas.
Yep.
Because just like us, they kind of adapt to their area. If they're in the wetlands, then maybe, they have longer hair. If they're in the deserts, they're shorter and stockier and darker. If they're up in Alaska with bigger game, maybe they get to the bigger sizes up there.
Right. And as I notice up here, my wife and I, we've noticed their hair up here is very long. It is longer, and it seems thicker as well. Because it gets brutally cold up here. You're talking, not uncommon for it to get 40 below zero. That's nothing.
And I've heard both sides of people saying that it did look like hair, mostly hair.
I think it is.
But there's several areas here in the Southwest where I've heard that it looks like a shorter bear-like type of fur,
which would make sense because Southwest,
So they're scrawny, they're mean. It's just different in every area, because you hear of people who are habituating or have contact on the daily with them, and I want to believe all that's good for them, but I think every area is a little bit different for that.
Yeah, I think every group itself is different, you know.
Right. And even to the point of them floating or not floating, there's a lot of variables that go into somebody floating. You know, it's all based on density and the water in your body, because everybody has lung capacity, and that'll make you buoyant. It will, but you have to be able to displace that water
better, right? If I'm not mistaken, females.
Yeah. Females
like
logically usually have more fat on them. We have boobs and we have the lung capacity. And between those three things, we tend to be more buoyant.
And because
men who are leaner, less fat, have to work at floating. It doesn't come that easy. And if you see a swimmer, a pro swimmer who's very lean, their legs are kicking under that water like crazy. If you see underwater cams.
Yeah,
you know, so it's a lot of different things, and just like us, you know, some people swim and some don't. So I think they're probably the same way. There's going to be some that don't swim. There has been apes that do swim, and some that don't. They stay away from the water.
They stay away.
And what about those Japanese macaques? Are the macaques that live in the heated pools in Japan?
Yep.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, the small ones, they do die. Yeah, they do dive down. But
so
yeah, I want to make a quick correction because, you know, when Pat was talking earlier, I do want to make a correction on my part. Yeah, as far as how he was talking about how the muscle mass and everything doesn't have anything to do with it. Yeah, because I did look up. I don't know where, because it's been stuck in my head from something I read a long time ago. It must have been only a theory. I thought it was a fact. So I am stand corrected that they chimpanzees and other primates do swim, but it's not common. But so yes,
right.
So yeah, Pat, I do stand corrected. I'm sorry. I do apologize on that.
That's why we're here, man. We're here to have a discussion, right? Like, I want to be correct. I want someone to correct me, like challenge me sometime. Like we
can only estimate and guess at what all this is. You know, some of us have very short feet, and you know, I've seen taller girls with shorter feet.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. You're right, Nikki. At this point, it's basically all speculation. There are no experts. You know, I mean, it's all speculation.
You're right.
In all reality.
Yes.
Well, they're all built different, I think.
I think there's more different. I think there's more different types than people think there are as well.
Yeah, I'm starting to believe that more and more as well.
I think there's there's subspecies within subspecies, and Virginia or?
Yeah.
This is a track I keep nearby.
I guess
it's not too.
Next time.
It's not really that impressive, but you can see the toe indentions.
Yeah, but you can tell what you can tell.
Yeah.
No, I mean that's great, dude. I mean,
yeah, man, that for sure.
Yeah.
It's not. You know, the thing is about like most of my tracks. As you can see, it's kind of rough looking. I mean, and it's based off of the terrain you get these from. I know I see a lot of people have like smooth looking track. The smoothest looking cast I have is the cast I did of my own foot.
Yeah.
I have a foot cast because I did that for my own comparison purpose, you know?
Sure.
And I have that with my collection, which is actually in my parents' garage. Most of my tracks are on a shelf put away, but I do have one of my foot. Actually, wait a minute, it broke, so I have to make another one. And I tell you what, it's just the smoothness of it because, you know, it was just basically an imprint. I need to do one of actually showing the motion of a step, you know, and I want to do that because I try to have something like that on my own record for documentation and educational purposes too. So
sure,
yeah.
Yeah, so that's something this weekend. If you still plan on coming on, bring that up to Israel, and he'll give you some really good tips on how to cast the track really well.
Oh yeah.
Do you use plaster or gypsum?
What's that now?
Do you use plaster or gypsum?
Oh no, that's plaster of Paris. Yeah.
Okay. Just curious.
Yeah.
Hey,
Um,
I'm curious about what Barry Robinson just put in the comments over here
I didn't see it.
about supposedly a government person in the know said Sasquatch was known to have 7 species. Supposing we're species one.
Heard the same thing.
Makes
I've
me-
heard 4. I've heard 6. I've heard 7.
I hadn't heard. I heard of 4.
I've heard of 10. I mean, I've heard of
But-
all the numbers.
There's no way to know from just
Right.
one story, one comment. I mean,
yeah, I think mainly, yeah, I don't know. There's people that believe, yeah, I've heard 4 to 5 myself, and I think that's really based off of just a pattern or a cluster of different descriptions. People put them in different categories.
Yeah.
Like Jeremiah, I think you mentioned it. Yeah, you mentioned it on Monday when that one image everybody's familiar with. It looks like it was holding a dog or something, and it was a Bigfoot dog. You described it as a Bigfoot dog man. It looks like it did have a snout, but it was more. Yeah, that one there.
The one I took the picture of, or is that the one I was telling you about? I took a picture of.
Oh no, there's another. Oh, I thought when you were talking about, I think it's the one that you described. There's one that's on. It's been around for a long time.
It's kind of baboonish looking as well.
I think so. Nikki, you know which one we're talking about? It's the one where it's holding what appears to be like a white little dog or something.
Oh, the 7 shoots.
Yeah.
That's the 7 shoots beast.
It's the beast of 7 shoots. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I can never remember where it came from, but that's the one. I thought when you were describing that, that's what the image that came in my head. You know.
Yeah, the beast of 7 shoots. Check this out real quick. They're Daniel, and you can send it to these two. I don't mind. This is Stacy and I caught this. We were 20 feet away, didn't know it, and I don't usually circle things, but I did circle this because it's kind of pixelated. This was 9 feet up in the tree, or the face would have been standing 9 feet. You can see a shoulder outline if you look close enough.
Tell you what, is there any way you could try to display it, hold it up to your camera, and see if we can see it that way?
Let me see if I can pull that off. Hold on. I'm not very tech savvy, as you know.
Well, if you send it to me or send it to Daniel, I could pull it up on the share screen.
Okay, see that?
No.
Oh. Yeah, move it more towards your left.
It's hard to tell, man.
It's hard to tell. Okay, hi, can I get you on Messenger?
Yeah. Or Daniel could forward it to me. I can pull it up real quick.
Okay, yeah. I just forwarded you both of them, Dan. If you want to send them to him, and
all right, hold on. Let me try to pull it up through Facebook on my laptop because I don't want to.
I sent you 2 of them.
Yeah, because if I do it through my phone, it's gonna just.
No, yeah.
Just
Forward it.
my...
You know, I'm the show producer here, man. What's up? I produce this show.
We didn't know the thing was there. There was logs laid out in the road, in the logging road, every 75 meters, excuse me. So finally I got out and I started taking pictures of the wood line. And I messaged Scotty Ortego and he says, dude, he goes, go home, go back to the cabin and analyze your pictures. And I looked at him and lo and behold, and the next day it looked like World War III had went on behind that tree. Almost like the group down there did not like this type coming in. I don't know. That's theory.
Right.
Theory.
Sure. You got to think it through, man.
You do, and to me, it doesn't look like a pleasant individual.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I thought I forwarded it to you, didn't I?
Yeah, I see it showed up, but I'm having a hard time loading stuff because everything's slow. Yeah.
I got you. Actually, you know what? I
forwarded me.
1 second. I think I can pull it up. Okay, here we go. Okay. Okay, there we go. All right, here we go. I got it. This is the one. This is one of them. 10, 11 p.m. There we go. Come on. Can you guys see that or no?
Hold on one second. I'm not on that page. I just sent that one image to Pat.
Oh, okay. I might be doing this wrong. So
No, it's okay. Are you trying to screen share?
yeah, all I did was put up a screen. I downloaded it and put my download. I hit the download file, and it was in there. So I'm not tech savvy, so
It's all right. It's all right. We got it.
okay.
Yeah, Pat's gonna put it up here very soon. Once I see him post up his screen share, I'll be able to.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Throw it up here.
Just very, just very, very bizarre. Yeah. And I've got more too, and I got to get them out of my cloud. I lost my Google account a couple weeks ago, but once I dig more amount of the same thing,
All right. I don't want to spoil it. It looks like a cute dog.
It does.
That's what I thought too when I first looked at it. It looked almost like a poodle.
You're talking. That's flat ground right there, and that point in that tree is about 8.5, 9 feet. And you're talking about flat ground. I mean, I have no explanation. And once I get you the whole picture, you can see the outline of a shoulder as well.
Oh yeah, I want to pet that thing.
I mean, it's just, I have no explanation, man. I don't. I'm not, I'm no expert. So.
I don't see anything.
You don't see it?
No.
Okay, look in the circle. See the white circle?
Well, I see what you're seeing, but I'm not very susceptible to pareidolia. So I see a branch that comes all the way through. Where you're showing eyes, I do not see eyes. I see the left one part of the branch on that side.
Which is very
and then
well
it continues. And what you're showing as like a muzzle is not a muzzle to me at all.
And you may be right. You very well could be right.
Because if you look further down, yeah, I don't. I see a tree, but
you very well could be right. Yeah. I just figured, it was worth sharing.
I think
it's awesome. I mean, yeah, I love to look at these.
I like it, and that's why I said, I don't know. I don't know what it was, or if it was anything at all. So who knows?
I wasn't there, so I don't know.
And at the time, I didn't see it either. It's kind of odd, we were 20 feet away from that area, and I was taking pictures, and you'd think if it was a living creature being that close, I would have at least seen it. Maybe not. They can camouflage themselves awfully well, so I don't know.
And that's the problem, Jay. Really, isn't it? I have this position, which is sort of unpopular, I think, in the Bigfoot world, is that you're never going to outclass them. If you're out there in the woods, they're not going to reveal themselves. They're not just going to step from behind the tree and make jazz hands go, take a picture of me.
No. It's on their terms.
It's all on their terms. That's the best way to put it. And guess what their terms are? I don't want to have anything to do with you. Like, get out of here.
In all reality, no. They just want them to do their own thing.
Well, and the thing is, when you do have a face-to-face encounter, taking a picture, I'm sure is your last thought on your mind.
Absolutely.
I mean, of course, that would be the best time to get a photo, but I know when you're caught up in that moment, every thought, is running through your head. Like, am I going to die right now? Or
Yeah.
That's why I don't think we catch a lot of them. Yes, there are some decent trail cam pics out there, but I have a theory behind that, and I think that they know they can see them, and I think they know we put them there, and I think they know they are there for their purpose. Just a theory, you know.
Yeah.
I've got a picture a good friend of mine sent me of 2. Okay, and they were too far away. I think I might have. He gave me permission to share that with you, Dan. I think I might. I don't know if I did or not, but it was too far away for the motion to set off the camera. Okay, so maybe one of them threw a rock saw it and threw a rock. They were very proficient rock throwers. We know that. Maybe one of them threw a rock at it, and that's what caused it to take the picture, or maybe one that was there with him that we didn't see did something to make it go off. I don't know. It's all a big ball of wax, man.
It is.
Yeah.
And you know, like I always say, like trail cams, they're static. They're just out there in the woods. And man, dude, trail cams have been around since the 70s. They have. And used by hunters, not Bigfooters, but hunters. And so trail cams have not produced any conclusive evidence.
No conclusive. No.
People go out in the woods. No conclusive evidence. You know.
No.
Nothing. I mean, I would say
photographic evidence anyway isn't.
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, the Patterson-Gimlin film is the only conclusive filmed evidence, and that happened 55 years ago, man.
And that was because there was more than one. There was tracks there as well.
Yeah, and back it up with that, but just the visual part of it,
right? Exactly.
Yeah, is to me it's conclusive as hell. I mean, you just look at the butt on that thing; it's like, whoa.
And the way she walks, we don't walk like that.
Pendulous breasts, you know. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
it's conclusive as hell to me. But
me too.
But nothing since, and there's something to that, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do believe there's some footage out there that, you know, some of the stuff we've probably seen in the past. In my opinion, I believe some things get overlooked or not enough attention, you know, compared to the Patterson footage. I mean, I know the only downfall to what we've had in recent years, till the last 10 years or so back, I mean, and with all today's technology, a lot of it's been blurry, distorted, grainy, or whatever. But at the same time, you know, you would think that with today's technology, some of these images could be sharpened or cleared a little bit better. I mean, look how well they did with the Patterson footage. I think they did a phenomenal job with that, clearing that up. Even putting it in 4K. Yeah, they've even put it in 4K, and I thought it came out great. But, you know, considering that was 16 millimeter, film.
Yeah.
Back then.
Yeah, it was.
So
it was.
Yeah. Here's a problem with today. Like, we can go back and look at the Patterson-Gimlin film. That's documented 100% proof that it was taken when it was taken, right?
Yes.
With today's footage, you know, you start getting into
photoshopping and
the capabilities that we have today to manipulate footage.
Exactly.
And so that becomes a problem. So if you don't have that, if you're going to present footage today, you got to bring that chain of evidence with it.
You do.
From the SD card. Like, you have to have that data there that says, you know, that data that says it's not manipulated.
Right.
And not a lot of people do that. They just release it straight to YouTube and go, "Hey, here's my footage." You know?
Well, if I may, or I'll make mention of this real quick. With today's technology and what we're able to do and you know, the thing is, a lot of people don't believe that trail cam photos could be photoshopped or computer generalized. You know, if anyone's been paying attention to most recent it's posted as a joke and people know it, but it's clearly looks like a real trail cam photo. You got an Ewok in one, and you got Chewbacca in the other, and it's got the data strip on there too. That goes to show how easy it is to manipulate, and alter any image.
Thank you.
And
You know what you're doing. You can alter anything.
Yeah, and people need to, and I'm actually kind of glad that's floating around. Because the people seeing that should be an education right there.
It should be.
Yeah, right. But I'm sure you're going to get some people think it's real because that's what kind of people will deal with it.
Yeah, but it's an Ewok from Star Wars, dude. Like, how could that be? Like, it's a fictional character,
Right.
Chewbacca with the belt, the belt across his waist, it's like, not real.
Yeah, great movie. Yeah. Dan, I had a blast, man.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we are going to get ready to come to a close. We're actually over 2 hours, so we've been known to run over 3 hours, but we don't do that often. It's usually about a 2 hour tops kind of thing,
Yeah.
This has been great. And one of the things we do before we leave, we usually go across the panel and throw and give everybody an opportunity to throw anything out there that they want to, make a word about. So we will go ahead and start with Mr. Pat Turner. So how about it, Pat? What you got?
Yeah, so here's what I got, man. Coming off the heels of the Meldrum interview tonight, there are doors that are about to be open. I was lucky enough to be a part of that tonight in a way I didn't expect. And all I have to say, man, is that there are doors that are about to open on this phenomenon that's going to be 1,000 times game-changing move the ball down the field. It's coming. And it's coming soon. If not this winter, maybe next winter. But like, I can't wait. I'm so jazzed. I'm like motivated. I'm ready to get out there and really change the game, man. And with the help of people like Meldrum,
sure,
this is going to be a pivotal shift in Bigfoot discussion.
Sure.
Towards reality, towards real observation. And I can't wait. That's what happened to me tonight, man. I'm so excited about it. I can't hardly contain it. I've had to do that here until now. But it's coming, guys. We are about to change the game and make things really happen in observational awareness of the phenomenon.
Well, you got me curious. Could you like kind of go into any further discussion on what you may be referring to, or?
Well, yeah, man. I mean, my deal, man, is that how.
Oh, you talking about with the drone footage? You mean, right?
Yeah. With thermal drones, that's how we're going to observe them.
Right.
And that is how we're going to observe them. So all this tramps around the woods, getting them stirred up and getting them, getting them into people mode isn't going to do anything. We fly over them, 10 square mile area. We find them, we look at them, we watch them. That's how it gets done. That's how we learn what the hell these things are. Yeah. And Meldrum's on board with that 100%. He understands that is how it gets done. And it's great. It's just great pairing of like science, his professionalism with my professionalism is gonna like, and anyone else who can do this.
I like how you said that is how it's done, because I'm not gonna say get into it, but I do believe there's people out there that know more about these things than the average researcher. And that's all I'm gonna say about that.
Yeah, and maybe so, dude. You might be right.
Yeah.
But if they do, they're sitting on it, right?
Yes. Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Yeah. Well, I'm a professional drone pilot. I can go out here and look at them. Like I don't forget these people who are sitting on shit. I can go out and get it.
Right.
And no one can stop me. No one can stop me. Yeah. So I'm not. I mean, if somebody's sitting on something, I don't care.
Right.
I'm ready to pull the trigger on this, man. We're gonna make it happen. We're gonna get footage of these things from the air. It's gonna be 100% conclusive.
That's
Well,
100%.
Where do you live, Pat? Where state are you out of?
I live in North Georgia.
North Georgia. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I know Dr. Jeff Meldrum is all for the drone thing because I know he had a very large drone project he was raising funds for, and I don't know. I don't think he ever came up with enough funds to launch that project.
It wasn't. That was not him. He participated in the Falcon project. So he was
it was the Falcon. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's it.
He was a part of the Falcon project. That was not his. That wasn't his baby. He decided to jump on board with it. Here's the thing: the Falcon project started 15 years ago, and they wanted to invent a freaking a Zeppelin, basically, that had a a $200,000 FLIR camera attached to it.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the thing. None of that's necessary because now we have the technology to be way more accurate and way more pinpoint. We don't need a freaking Zeppelin. Okay, this isn't 1932. We don't need a Zeppelin.
Right.
We have F-22 stealth fighters.
Yeah.
Okay. So we can get in there with thermal drones. We don't need Zeppelins.
No.
So yeah, like, I mean, all that kind of happened tonight and is gonna come to fruition soon. With between me and Meldrum and a third party, to where we're really talking about today's technology versus inventing something that you don't need. You don't need a Zeppelin. We have a thermal drone. It's quite capable. Yeah.
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 Alrighty. Real quick, could you answer this quick question? I'm not familiar with this. I don't know, maybe you or Nikki or Jeremiah maybe. Barry Robertson's asking, does the Olympic project use drones? Because
Couldn't tell you.
They're not doing anything. The Olympics.
Oh, okay.
I didn't think they were. Yeah, I thought they were pretty stagnant right now.
Yeah,
Like,
they haven't done anything in a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I didn't think so.
It's a great example of something that, they tried to put that together and they tried to make it something and it may have gained a little traction at first, but it lost its feet. And honestly, dude, I'll be honest with you and everybody here, man. It kind of reminds me of playing in bands. That because I'm an entertainer, I played in a lot of bands. It reminds me of like playing with people that didn't know what the hell they were doing.
Right.
It's like I'm not going to stake what's important on your ignorance. I'm just gonna do it myself.
Yeah.
And that's what I can do. I can take my thermal drone and I can take it into areas where I know Sasquatch are likely to be, and I can look for them. And I don't need anyone. I depend on no one for that. I can do it all myself.
And I'll tell you what, depending on yourself is for a lot of things, especially when it comes to projects, is really the best way to go about it. I've learned that myself because if I had to depend on others to be a part of what I organize and put together throughout the years and every year, I mean, I would be begging for them to give me the information they got. What did you come up with this? I like to do it because when I do it myself, it's getting done, and I know it's getting done, and I can file and keep track of everything on my own instead of playing phone tag or try to contact that person on social media when they're not even on there half the time. So
exactly.
But I know.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Nikki, let's go with Nikki real quick. Nikki, you have anything you want to throw out there?
No, not really. You can find me as always on Facebook, on the group Bigfoot Weekly. And if you want to join up, just hit that button and I'll be happy to include you. Because it is a closed group.
Okay.
And but we've got a lot of good people in there. I think in the last 10 years that I've had has it been that long? Oh my God. No, it can't be that long. I may have kicked out 5 people. So
Oh wow.
that's a pretty good track record. I
Yeah.
think we got a lot of respectful people in the group, and we tend to have some good chats,
Cool.
good information. So
Awesome.
that's where you can find me.
Awesome.
All right. Sounds good. Yeah, the ECBRO Facebook group is slowly growing. It's come a long ways. It's got 2,300 people on it, 2,300 something people.
Yeah, you
So,
did well.
So yeah, it's coming along. We got like same thing with you, Nick. I've had to get rid of people and block people, but I know Pat's one of my administrators. I think you are too, and so yeah, and I have several other administrators in to help keep track of who comes and who goes and posts and all that good stuff. So, everybody, be sure to check out the descriptions on here under the YouTube stream. There are descriptions for book readers if you want to add to your collection. Yeah, check out the books, the links in the description, and read through all that and the other information. And I think that about close it. Jeremiah, I want to thank you again. It's been a great pleasure having you on here. Really had a great time tonight. My pleasure. So yeah, we will do this again. We will definitely do this again in the future. And
yes, indeed.
So, yeah, and everybody else, thank you guys for tuning in tonight. And if you have not done so, feel free to share this around. I know I've shared it several times earlier before we started. So, but till next time, guys, this is Bigfoot Zone, and we're out of here.